Hey guys. Okay, let me just make sure to mute the spectator, which is going to be Zuglion tonight. The stream is in English, but I see most of the people in chat talking French. D-League, wrong game, by the way. Wrong game? What do you mean? NTNS against Surf Esports, that's the right game. By the way, you will realize, or you will see that we have no delay tonight, okay? The delay is going to be built or baked into the clean feed which I'm receiving from Zug. So thank you, Zug, for that. And the game has actually already started. And therefore, it's just a matter of waiting the 3 minutes for the delay to catch up. And then we'll be good to go, quite literally. So the nice thing with having a delay baked in is it says it's Warface. Oh, wrong game. I see. Rainbow Six, or Tom Clancy's, right? Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege. Mettre à jour les infos because my OBS is in French. Thank you very much. This is absolutely a channel which I've rebranded and repurposed rather than a new channel. When was the last stream on this channel? Must have been around like 2016. So yeah, back when Warface was new, you know. Back when Warface was new. Okay, all around. Since it's going to take us, roughly say another minute before it starts. It could be a good time to read the chat, since this is something I can't do too often when we are having a regular stream like that. But all in all, you'll see Surf Esports, and you might think to yourself, well, geez, Surf Esports, they're not exactly the team that was registered, or at least they have changed their name. They were pretty huge drones before. They seem to have been, or they appear to have been bought or merged, or somehow have been linked up with Surf Esports, and now they play under Surface banner. NTNS, same team as ever. And if I was just to take a look real quick, to take us a little look at the standings on the SummerCup Discord server. Let me just get a public chat. Okay, so Hostile Actions would have the most amount of points behind Axios are behind Hostile Actions. How come? Then you have Integrity, NTNS, so they would be fourth, I want to say. It drops down, and Surf Esports, oh no, they're dead last. How unfortunate. It does make some amount of sense, though, simply because Surf Esports, they have joined the competition late, and they have taken the spot of a team that actually disbanded, left the competition. Now they're a bit fuzzy on the exact details, but the general, or the point, it really is Surf Esports, they have been in the competition for for a lesser amount of time than the others, and this is going to have an impact. Without further ado, it looks like we are going to be jumping into the game. So, ban operators wise, what could we expect? And I cannot do the bans on here because that is my my clean feed in full screen. So Oregon as a map is still somewhat new, right? The strats are still being kind of figured out, but ultimately, it's always the same operators that are being banned. Thatcher, as we say it, Thatcher is getting banned. So Thatcher is getting banned. You'd likely see, for example, Thermite, Habana, Maverick, Montaigne, depending on the operators. But it's more of the same, really. Let's just find out real quick who Surf wants to get rid of, and it will be Capitao. Okay, I am somewhat surprised on that front. Capitao is not exactly the one I was expecting, but then again, he is pretty good utility-wise, right? He is a good support operator, kind of like Smoke, but on offense. Instead of having smoke grenades or toxic babes, he does have the fireballs, which can basically cut off a rotation, a corridor, a doorway, and allow somebody to plant the diffuser. Cade, without any surprises, Cade is basically the only one that can reliably protect a hatch. So getting rid of him will make it somewhat possible for Surf Esports in that instance, since they started an attack apparently. They do start an attack. Okay, they do have the orange team, but they will be attacking first, and therefore the overlay is going to be on the wrong side, but that can be done pretty easily by clicking swap bands. Okay, so yeah, Cade, Mira, no surprises there, but otherwise I would say those operator bands are somewhat unique. I didn't expect to see them, but here they are. Ebba saying, good luck to the new Surf Esports. Yes, Esports is spelled wrong. Where did I... in the... Marodia, do you mean in the stream name? Or in the overlay or somewhere else? So apparently we're having our observer looking at the rankings here. And as you can see, NTNS, yeah, they are definitely in the platinum level, while the game is loading. Whereas the other team, your Surf Esports, they are having a lot of players on platinum, but not all of them. So this is going to be somewhat interesting. I mean, the difference isn't going to be huge by any means, but still, in theory, your... Oh, Surf Esports, this one, I see. They're Esports, plural, right? Surf Esports. Well, if you're referring to their name in game, I'm sorry, we can't really change that without updating the or restarting the game, so that's not really going to be possible for us, unfortunately. Nonetheless, if I was to take a look at the first defense, it is going to be in the church area, or it is going to be in laundry. And what I really do like to see is the defense seems to be quite intent on having a lot of plant denial utility. If you look at this, you do have a smoke, you do have a maestro. Those two operators combined can absolutely, cut off rotations and prevent an aggressive push. You also do have, Mute who will be jamming drones, and that is also going to make it a bit more difficult to simply just rush in because you're going to be short on intel. But Surf Esports, they are bringing a Montaigne to the table. That can be quite interesting because he can absolutely be the first one to push in, to receive a lot of bullets, to eat up one or two, nitro cells, those C4s. But it looks like your Montaigne, for the time being, is only grabbing intel and is not too intent on pushing too aggressively inside. Juno, though, he has taken a fair amount of damage. I don't know if he's over Montaigne's shoulder, because I don't see any, silhouettes anywhere else. But then again, if he lost a few hits point here, maybe Montaigne wasn't covering too well. Hyena over there seems to be finding himself in a firefight, which, not exactly yet, but it seems to be bound to happen. For the time being, however, Montaigne is really, really good at distracting the defenders. Smoke already down on one single last Toxic Babe with over a minute and a half remaining on the clock. That is pretty big, actually. That's kind of the job of Montaigne, right? Eating up all of this utility. He is not going to be in blue bunker, but Kunai will be getting a kill. Now, Montaigne is losing his support slowly but surely. That was your Maverick, by the way, so hard reaching is not going to be so much more difficult. But slowly but surely, Montaigne is getting low on health, so that is quite unfortunate, but eventually he is bound to be put down. IU is getting a kill on his own, so Hyena will be put down for the remainder of the round. A nitro cell here would be absolutely huge. Kunai unfortunately doesn't have one. He's going to try the knife, but that's not going to be working too well. Freezing, getting a kill on Blood. And here you have it. The kneecaps are Montaigne's greatest enemy. Juno, last one alive, gets a nice little kill, but he still has to get the ace if he wants to clutch that. So that was the first one. He still has 4 to go. He has also roughly a minute remaining on the clock, so he can do this without too many difficulties. But it's not exactly going to be easy for him. The rotation will make it so that his position is no longer known, so he realistically can expect to have the advantage of surprise, though there are only so many different, entryways into the building. So it looks like Freezing is absolutely waiting for him ready, watching the angle like a hawk. Juno cannot just rush in like that. It would be pure suicide. What else can he do, though? That's, the question. So he'll be holding the angle quite passively for the time being. Thing is, the timer, or, the timer is slowly but surely running out, and it is not going to wait for him. If he wasn't spotted, now he's absolutely going to be receiving a bit of damage, nothing too major, but if it stacks up, it's going to end up being fatal to him. Free fires are not going to work. They are, however, going to be returned in kind by Kunai, who gets a final kill. All right. Pense pas ça valoir la peine de checker à la meilleure, la game va être vite. Je suis pas sûr ce que vous voulez dire par là, guys. Alright, one thing that I do kind of enjoy, I kind of enjoy, not just pass, but I do actively enjoy it, and I hadn't done this in a while, is actually casting without having to worry about the, about observing, since once again, I do want to thank Zug for doing this. And by having a dedicated observer, I can pour all of my energy into the casting side of things which will make things so much more easier for me. So, guys, can we just give Zug a round of applause and a round of thank you in the chat? But in the meantime, this was NTNS's first and successful defense. Of course, by having defended successfully downstairs, they can't go there again, and therefore we will be defending the second room, aka bunks. The bunks defense hasn't changed too much, to be honest, from what it previously was. Small towers no longer too useful, but other than that, I mean, you still do have the same general reinforcements in between the two bomb sites with the rotation to the attic. So that's kind of the attic is a bit more important than it previously was, but other than that, you know, it is more of the same. The Evil Eye cameras for Maestro I haven't seen planted down, but one thing's for sure, Tick Sky, yeah, how am I supposed to pronounce that gamer tag? Maestro I haven't seen get out of the bomb site, so the Evil Eye cameras can't be anywhere, you know, near, or they can only be next to the bombs themselves. You can already see that the attack seems to be fairly one-sided. It looks like we will be attacking the master's bedroom area. Your Blackbeard seems to be intent on rappelling up the wall. Maybe not after all, or my working theory would be that he's waiting for Ash to secure that doorway, or to secure classroom as a whole before he has the guts to rappel up, which would be, you know, a reasonable assumption. Juno has made some noise, nothing too major, but the control of the first floor is going to be really important here for the simple reason that you can breach, you know, thermite jammers, bent batteries if they had a bandit in that composition fairly easily from above, or from below rather. Sorry. That is going to be thermite breaching the main wall, but that wall in and of itself isn't worth too much because the defenders can still quite easily shut down that intended push if, you know, their guns are positioned the right way, which for the time being, you know, they still have all of their resources. They will also be getting a kill on Tay. Tay being yet another hard breacher, so he could have been really important, but nothing too major. Blackbeard is going to be getting a kill on Freezing, and that rappel up here is absolutely dangerous. If somebody was to hold the angle, it should be Blackbeard, and him getting the kill on Smoke is going to be major, right? Your Smoke, utility-wise, this is a good kill right here, considering it's a 4v4 situation. I would assume the attack has a slight advantage now. And also, by staying up here, he is more or less uncontested, and he's cutting off a rotation. Though both of these things combined are pretty big. Ayuz seems to know he's got the diffuser down in the big tower. So that is really putting the attack on the back foot. Hyena is going to get the kill on him, though, so recovering it is going to be pretty trivial, which would explain why Kryptonite is currently roaming. Like, he wants to deny the diffuser. Failing that, he's too late after all. He's going to try to get the kill or the refrag to, you know, regain control of that. It yet remains to be seen exactly how Hyena will want to rotate back on site to, you know, get it planted, but it is a distinct possibility that he would go through that corridor, that classroom area, but he's not going to do so. And for the time being, even though the bomb site itself is not yet fallen into Surf Esports' hands, it might very well do so, since after all, it is now a 2v4 situation. You do also have Hyena right here, putting some pressure on TKT, but he's just not getting the angle. Though he has the ping peeking, that would be a suicide mission. 15 seconds remaining on the clock. 2v4 situation, and yet the defense could still win. Though now in a 1v4 situation is going to be pretty damn difficult. Kryptonite has to get back on site, and that is going to be ASAP. The natural cell might yet be attempted, but he's going to have to throw it blind, which is not going to yield any results, and therefore the diffuser has now been planted. He is going to attempt one or two things through the verticality. It just doesn't work out for him. So what else can you do? Walk back up the stairs. Only problem is that is extremely predictable. So he's lucky he hasn't been seen so far. He sees the red ping. He gets a kill, but now he's going to have to do the rest, the remaining of the kills the hard way, and that is of course not going to work out. Dr. Montagonizer. Dr. Montagonizer. What a name. What a name. You're a Blackbeard right here, holding the angle like a hawk, getting a predictable kill as a result of that. So, let's get those replays on stream. Ah, god damn it. I have too many mouses or mices on my desk. It is confusing me. So, this round was quite interesting for one simple reason. You had NTNS winning it out by a fairly good margin last round, and this time Surf Esports wins it. The really interesting factor that I do want to point out by saying that is simply that both of these teams can absolutely take the cake. It seems like this match is going to be fairly even, and I like to see that, to be honest. I really do like it. But that is going to be but one single round, and so much can still happen, you know. 2 rounds is still a fairly small margin on which to base our assessments of the remainder of the game. So round number 3 is going to see yet another top floor defense, because of course why not, right? NTNS cannot yet go laundry again, and I don't see why they would go, for example, in the dining room area, or in the kitchen area rather. So that defense is going to be fairly similar to the previous one. Looking at the composition, however, there's going to be one crucial detail. You will be seeing Kunai and Freezing playing respectively Goyo and Smoke. Both of these operators are, their utility is basically area of effect based. So they can absolutely shut down a lot more of the map, and we saw how tense it was, how close it was. Last round, you know, a Vulcan shield, a smoke grenade would have made the difference. It is unfortunate that Freezing was the first one to die last round, so let's see if this time his you know, habits, his playstyle could change up a little bit to enable him to remain alive for a longer period of time. But also, if Surf Esports were to go at it the exact same way they did last round, well, they would make themselves quite predictable, right? Axios is going to be roaming, not exactly the way he was before, but if he just, you know, bides his time and wait around the classroom area for long enough, he could maybe get a kill on, for example, Juno, who might not be expecting it, but it's going to be too late. He already breached the ceiling with his grenade. It doesn't look like he got all of the mute jammers though, and now with Axios coming back on or around the classroom area, he could become a significant danger to the attackers. Of course, his position is not yet known, so that also is a great advantage. That flash grenade will reveal that there was no ADS device in the area, and therefore Ash, or Zofia, Ash in this instance, will get the Vulcan shield destroyed pretty quickly. This is just going to buy time more than anything else, though. And of course, Kunai can still just strike to the left, take a few shots at his opponent, and hope he hits the head. For the time being, though, he's going to be quite passive. But you still do have Thermite, who was right here. I believe he's planted a charge, and it probably must still be jammed, and that would be why he didn't blow it up. But no, he does, just in time before he gets killed. So the timing here will be absolutely perfect. He's still dead. It is unfortunate, but utility-wise, he did his job. Kunai has made his position known. It would seem like Juno will be the next one to challenge him. Juno is absolutely, you know, preparing his peak in a, you know, prepared fashion. He's not going to be rushing things, but still, his presence being already known. The Nitro side here, he is not going to get it destroyed. He'll lose a lot of health by, or not a lot of health by doing so. However, Kunai here is likely to be flashed, so rushing in could be interesting, but Kunai does get a kill, and when he comes back, he will be cut short. That is still going to be a numerical disadvantage for the attack, but, you know, the first line of defense, and the most embarrassing one, I want to say, has been cleared out. So now, you know, you just have to hide behind the pool table or the babyfoot table, and you could maybe even get the diffuser planted. It would be a stretch, since you still do have 1 or 2 defenders on A. But it could, in theory, be done, assuming you do have enough, you know, covering fire from your teammates, which is not going to happen for the time being, since, of course, every single attacker is basically spread out. They're not working together. They can't, you know, distract their opponents. They can really just make some noise from different angles and hope this provides a good enough distraction, which for the time being is not going to happen too much. Ash rushing in blindly, trying to get the kills, but that's just not going to work. Freezing is also going to get the final kill, and therefore, NTNS will win round number 3. What I've kind of like to see is that the rounds are seldom kind of coming down to the wire. The rounds are more often than not being won in by a landslide by either teams, but then it just goes back and forth, right? The one time Surf Esports wins it with relative ease, then NTNS just comes back and claim the same prize for themselves. So I couldn't tell you who's going to win, to be honest. Simply because there is such a back and forth going on here. I kind of like to see it ultimately. Like, it would be a shame to just have a purely one-sided map, because then you don't know who's gonna win, and that's knowing who's gonna win in advance is not as interesting in my opinion. Let me just shut down Steam so I stop receiving those notifications. Oh, the one guy is now online. Oh, the one guy is now playing this. Or the one guy is not playing that. It is just annoying and not needed in the context of this stream. Okay, round number 4. Without any surprise in the world, we will be seeing yet another basement defense. And if the current song should hold true, we would just be seeing a back and forth between these two bomb sites. So, what is going to be happening here in Laundry? One thing's for sure, Surf Esports, they know they'll be attacking Laundry again. You can see it simply because of the Montaigne's presence. But on defense, as far as I can tell, it is going to be the exact same initial setup as NTNS has deployed the first round. And that will be making them a bit more predictable, which is why their initial setup isn't exactly going to be the same, right? The composition is fairly similar. Actually, it's the exact same, but the habits and the movements and the playstyles of those players will be slightly different. Kunai and Freezing will still be holding the same angle, and your Montaigne, Dr. Montagonizer would probably still be the first one to jump in, but no, it looks like Thermite's silhouette is the one peeking. Why would Thermite be the entry fragger? If he dies, it is going to be huge for the defense. And this is why the main push seems to be happening elsewhere. After all, Montaigne right here, as soon as we turn around, we'll be noticing him. He goes down slowly but surely with Sophia above his shoulder, trying to get the kill on it. Looks like I use his silhouette, but nothing is going to connect either way, right? Neither the defenders nor the attackers are going to be able to seal the deal. And what I see here is basically the defense that could open themselves up to a grenade being rolled, either for Jaeger or for Kunai. But also, oh, there's the one ADS device over there. Other than that, I didn't see any. Kunai will fall to Tay's fire. Blood Merchant also getting a kill in rapid succession. So the attackers are now well poised to just funnel into OBJ, TKT, and Ayuz will have to hold a few different angles, one after the other. TKT is falling back. You can really sense that they're uneasy right now. Ayuz is going to be still quite aggressive on the OBJ itself, but there's only so much he can do, right? He's just going back and forth. He has no real means of taking out Montaigne, so he can only, take out his covering fire, which is going to be possible, but he is exposing his flank, right? If he turns around for long enough, Montaigne's going to get a kill on him. At that range, Montaigne could be absolutely dangerous, but he will not be knifed by the shield operator. It's rather going to be Juno who gets him down. Oh, peeking with the flash grenade in your hand. That's going to cost Juno a fair bit of health. Nothing too major, and you saw him right there. Oh, the recoil management has been too poor here. Kryptonite had an easy kill, if not. Leaving us with still the 2v4 situation. Like I said last round, it is still doable, but not exactly easy, right? The TKT could bet on his Evil Eye cameras to deny the plant of the diffuser, but he cannot really take out Montaigne. He gets a nice kill here, and Kryptonite will be blocking off Montaigne, while TKT gets another kill. That is now diffuser lost, going for a third. That's just not going to connect, and this time Juno is returning fire. So the attack this time would be somewhat on the back foot. Montaigne has a low, firepower. He can't get too many kills. He could still cover Ash quite interestingly, but she is going to die. And Kryptonite is also going to take Montaigne out with a nice nitro cell. That's just the way things are. Oh no, he had to move. He had to move forward, but that was just a mistake. Either way, right, the timer was going to run down, and that seems to be a common trend across your attack. They're always kind of late. If they get the diffuser planted, things are looking good, but if not, this time they didn't have any realistic plan of getting the diffuser planted. That was their one and only mistake. They seem to be betting heavily on Montaigne, so Dr. Montagonizer, he is getting the job done in the sense that he is pushing forward. He's pushing the front lines back. He's staying alive, feeding a lot of intel to his team. But other than that, he's just an indestructible drone. He can't really get any kills, and visibly he's having somewhat of a hard time, securing the OBJ and allowing his teammates to actually plant the diffuser, which would be kind of disappointing if you're a Surf Esports fan, because as a shield, he plays good, right? I don't have too many criticisms to throw his way. The main problem seems to be his escort. They can't get the diffuser planted when he pushes forward. They can't also get too many kills by having Montaigne using Montaigne as a distraction. So what is Montaigne used for? It is, a team effort thing ultimately. But for the time being, we will be having a round number 5. So this one's going to be the second to last before the rule swap. And of course, after having won both in laundry and in bunks, you have to go somewhere else. That somewhere else is going to be meeting. And that's quite interesting because some other teams would consider meeting as being the weakest bomb site in the game, right? As a tertiary bomb site, they would usually go dining and kitchen rather than kitchen and meeting. But that is just going to be semantics, and it's down to personal preferences. Really, what I do want to point out by saying that is this map is still fairly new, and there doesn't seem to be a well-established order of primary, secondary, tertiary, and fourth bomb site. Should it ever come to that, you know? But still, I do like seeing the variety in here because a map such as Clubhouse suffers of a slight lack of variety by simple virtue of not having. Oh, he is punching in a happy face. Thing is, if he makes too much noise, that frown or that happy face might turn upside down pretty quickly if he was to get shot. Also, he's making too much noise, isn't he? Oh, he's going with a no. Oh no, you messed it up. You done goofed. We can definitely see that Montaigne's perspective is downstairs. And the observer is saying, hey, but not posting it. Okay, so that's the point of this positioning. He is holding the rotation in the towards the attic area, and he almost gets a kill on Montaigne. But now the advantage of suppress has been lost, and he was unable to seal the deal, unfortunately. Of course, Red Blood or his teammates aren't going to peek that. Montaigne is still right there. You do need Thermite's help, and he is gonna not get the kill here, but Montaigne will get a swift refrag, leaving us still with Montaigne in a 1v3 situation. His life is extremely low. What can he do? Not too much, right? He can't just rush in face to face, because that's kind of a given. Usually your opponent is going to get 1 or 2 shots off, but since your body is still blocked by the shields, you're supposed to survive to that. He does get a kill, but then his position is absolutely known. He's getting pushed with over a minute, or just roughly a minute remaining on the clock. Nothing is still too dangerous for him, right? He can still do 1 or 2 things, but he is absolutely not allowed any mistakes whatsoever. Motzi here is going to deny him the ability of aiming down sights. The knife here is going to get him down. This is going to be a triple kill. He is now on his way to get a 4th. Is it going to be a reverse sweep as far as this round is concerned? Might very well be. Planting the diffuser would be an absolute danger. He seems to want to try it, and he will actually put it down, but of course not. Of course, Kryptonite was never going to allow that. So, that is going to be NTNS winning round number 5 in a 4-1 fashion. Their advantage in that situation is quite substantial. Plus, they've just won in their tertiary bomb site, so they will be going at the top floor. Yeah, exactly, dorms. They'll be going dorms again, which is going to be quite, interesting for them. Their odds of winning right here are going to be pretty good, I want to say, because this is one of their more comfortable bomb sites. So they have shown that they do have a really good control and a really good, I want to say, ease in this map, and that is nice to see. All in all, that is nice to see. So there you have it, NTNS winning round number 5. So, at this point, is this situation salvageable for Surf Esports? Of course it is, right? They can still win a few rounds when they get on defense. And when they get on defense, of course, they will have the easier side, so that should give them a chance. Still, I would expect this round to be won by NTNS simply because of the historical data that we have. It is a Bunk's defense. And so NTNS, they are likely to win this round because of this. This is one of their better bomb sets and all that good stuff. Assuming we have a 5-1 score line for the rule swap, defending is easier by a lot in this map because as a community we haven't yet figured out the best ways to attack the different bomb sites. So is that defensive advantage going to be favorable? Going to be enough for Surf Esports to win back the lost rounds? Unfortunately, I'm not too sure. I think NTNS have solidified themselves as having a good advantage, which is also going to translate in being a pretty good, mental factor. They are going to be able to, with a good knife, that's unfortunate. They're going to be able to kind of intimidate their opponents, and should Surf Esports have a weaker morale, that could just be enough to get them tilted, I'm not saying it is. I'm not in the players' heads. I don't know them too personally. Plus, them getting a first kill in IUs here is going to be pretty good, you know. It is going to be the beginning to winning the round. First kill, you have to start somewhere, is what I'm saying. That flash not being destroyed is going to indicate that, once again, that Vulcan shield is not protected. Tossing yet another flash. I'm not sure exactly what you're trying to do, but there you go. The Vulcan shield will be destroyed. And it's going to be basically the first entryway into the objective, or into the building for the attackers. Blood Merchant, playing with your Gridlock, is going to be here at the armory area. There is, I want to say it is Freezing the silhouette. Welcome to Rainbow Six Siege, right? You have to guess the operator just by seeing the silhouette. I believe Freezing or somebody else is going to be in the... And Freezing does get a kill on Sai, so it wasn't him. Or actually, it might... It is Kunai. So Kunai over there seems to be quite intent on trying to get a kill on his opponents. Not exactly going to work, but one thing is for sure, he's kind of denying Blood Merchant access to the building as a whole by just locking down this area of the map. Plus, it does look like you do have Kryptonite holding the angle right here. So for the time being, it is going to be more or less of a stagnation. The attack, whatever they were trying, isn't working out too well, so they have to rotate out and try something differently. So Juno right here destroying the barbed wire. He will be making his movements extremely predictable, and his teammate, or Thermite, actually just died there, so his flank would have been exposed. Luckily for him, Blood Merchant is here to pick up the slack and to give a bit of health. But, you know, a helping hand might not be enough if he peeks too harshly on his hard left. Oh, no, there's not going to be Kunai getting a kill. Wouldn't that be a double kill or a refrag situation? It will be a double kill, leaving us with... Oh, he's going to get another frag right here. Of course he does. So, Hyena, last player alive. In a 1v3 situation, things are not boding too well. He doesn't have a fuser, position is known, but he has all his health. With 40 seconds remaining on the clock, though, Kunai's MP Vector at this range is going to be absolutely terrifying, simply because of the firing rate of that weapon. The second one is going to detonate. He knows there's somebody right here, but plus his flank is exposed because of Thermite's opening in that wall. So he knows he is in an extremely precarious situation. If he peeks, the shotgun is going to be... you know, a lethal weapon. Single shot might be it. The Nitro Cell getting tossed. He is not in a position to get the kill on Kryptonite before he chucks in the cake out. Let's call it Nitro Cell cake. And there you go. So the surprise party didn't end up too well for Zofia. Leaving us with, like I expected, the 5-1 scoreline. As you can see, Kunai is a top fragger of his team by far. Doctor Montagonizer would be the better one on the attacking team, which is kind of ironic, having Montang be the top fragger. And it kind of speaks of the states of that team. Your top fragger is kind of a support operator, so the actual entry fraggers, the actual other players, aren't unfortunately pulling their weight, and that is, you know, the biggest factor which is likely to lead to NTNS's victory. After all, they're only 2 points off winning the game. Attacking is going to make things a bit harder for them, but not impossible, and not by a long shot, right? They do have the momentum in their favor. They do seem to have a slight ease at winning their gunfights. But then again, you know, the bias this map has might throw a wrench into NTNS's plans of just rushing in, winning 2 rounds, and putting an end to the game this way. So I wouldn't bet too hard on that, but it is still a distinct possibility if you look at the composition. However, TKT is going to be playing with a Kali. That is quite interesting. Kryptonite, Thermite, of course. So Thatcher having been banned, of course you have to bring somebody to destroy the batteries, mute jammers in that instance. And it looks like it's going to be Kali. You are going to be losing some amount of firepower by doing so, however. Kali would be a good counter to a Clash player, but Surf aren't playing Clash either, so you really do have to be confident that the remaining of your team is able to pick up a few kills, because TKT yourself are not going to be point men, that is for sure. So let's look at this. NTNS, though they didn't all of them spawn on the same side, they will be regrouping together, which would indicate a one-sided push. And it is not going to be coming from the bunker area, unlike Surf Esports seem to have anticipated. That proximity alert is, of course, going to be a bit scary for the NTNS team. Like, they expect to just waltz right in. It's not going to be that easy, visibly. So Freezing will be putting a few air jabs behind them to make sure that no nasty surprise lurks out and waits for them. IUs seems to be pushing down to the main area. Kunai and Freezing will be going, well, Freezer Oh, and that could be huge. Somebody's going to be on their backs, but he's not rushing in to get the kill. He was cut down right here due to Tay. Tay, who will be refragged immediately himself, unfortunately. So Juno will be trying to pick up the slack. He's being revived, but Juno getting the kill on the IUs. The aggressive push is unfortunately falling apart. Zofia here also losing to Juno. Now, Kryptonite and TKT are the last players alive. Kryptonite with the sniper rifle could do something interesting because he got peeked, or his teammates got peeked from here once or twice, but now the advantage of the sniper rifle's presence has been known, and therefore the advantage has been lost. Still, the ACOG, or the magnification at this range should have the advantage. It is a 12 times magnification, I believe, right? So it is going to be absolutely monstrous, but if he doesn't hit his shots, it's not going to matter too much. Plus, you know, now that they know there's a sniper rifle, the Surf Esports guys are likely to be so much more reticent at peeking and at showing themselves, knowing full well that TKT isn't going to be too good at actually peeking and pushing. But still, he has rotated just to watch the backs while Kryptonite is working on the actual push itself. So the 1v4 situation isn't going to be too encouraging for your attackers. 50 seconds remaining on the clock. They can still do this. The natural stun here is going to blow up basically nowhere, and is not going to deal any amount of damage. It is not going to be creating an opening through which the attackers can walk in, though. So Kryptonite will be opening up the freezer wall. That is, you know, fairly, I want to say, trivial. And if it was to be jammed, well, TKT could help out with that. That is, you know, the core of his utility. But he would have to be cautious as to not destroy his teammate's gadget, but it appears to not be a problem. So now you seem to know where to push in from, or you know where to go to get the diffuser planted. 15 seconds remaining on the clock. He is now on bomb side. There's going to be a smoke right here with the shotgun. Absolutely dangerous. He falls to that, leaving us with Thermite, last player alive, who will be flanked by Juno. But it's Dr. Montagonizer who gets the final kill. Surf Esports winning round number 7, and thus getting their second point. Yeah, they had not realized that Thermite had rotated through that hole in the wall. But as soon as they realized, of course, they acted accordingly. Let's go with the replays. And here we go. So that 7th round has been played in laundry. And has been won by the orange team. I'm unsure if Kali was still the right choice. So the thing is, NTNS, they've lost a lot of players in the beginning stages of the round, right? Ayu's Kunai Freezing have been lost too quickly. They were exposed. They didn't realize that. You know, they had a flaw in their strategy, in their push, and they had to bite a bullet here. But as soon as it was known that, for example, the opening in the wall right here from which Freezing has died, as soon as it was known that it was being held actively by the Surf Esports guys, well, then they became so much more cautious. Thing is, learning that lesson was too costly for NTNS. Surf Esports, they were able to win a nice round, but their playstyle, which gave them the victory, is likely to be known, if not this round, well, in the next 2 rounds, NTNS will, you know, pick up on the cues Surf Esports are giving. But for the time being, Surf have been able to halt the bloodshed, right? They lost too many rounds back to back to back. They had to prevent losing at another one, and that's exactly what they did. On that front, good job. Though, now, they will be defending the bunks area. And bunks is kind of a contested area. So NTNS, their only loss when they were defending was up there. So, you know, presumably they know what Surf were able to do to inflict them a loss. And so they would know, you know, what the flaws are, how Esports, how Surf tend to play it there, how they tend to attack. And the attack can be indicative of your defense, because if you know that the one area is weaker, you are likely to attack from there. And if you attack from there as the attacker as well as the defense, you might think to yourself, oh, it is weaker, let's play extra attention through there. I mean, I feel like I'm grasping at straws, but these are the same players with the same general playstyles, right? And just on the other role. An aggressive player is going to be an entry fragger and a roamer. That's just a fact. A support operator is going to be, for example, a Maestro Echo player, and then on offense is going to be something like a Thermite or a Nomad. Kunai here is already in the master bedroom, and he could cut off a rotation if he only saw something, but his angle is going to be too narrow. Thermite should open up that reinforced wall, and they could get something done with the air jab blowing apart. He is going to know somebody wanted to rotate up there, but it's going to be too late, right? Of course, that silhouette is not going to come up and try to, force a firefight, knowing full well that whoever the woman was is going to be in a disadvantaged situation there. But still, with a minute 30 remaining on the clock, neither teams have lost a single player. And that is going to make the OBJ so much a tougher nut to crack, because by killing, 1 or 2 defenders, the angles that we're watching would now be 3. But that hypothetical has not yet happened. You still have all of your 5 players to push the bomb site itself, but the problem is there still are enough defenders up to watch every single entryway into the OBJ, so that's going to make things a bit difficult. Axios seems to be contempt on trying to entering through the main window, but if he does so, he really does need to get the kill on that silhouette on his right, because if he doesn't, he is going to be done for. So he should count on a distraction from his teammates. Freezing is going to get a nice kill on Blood Merchant, not being able to push in though. Kryptonite has to rotate back, but still, the numerical advantage, Axios also getting a kill, numerical advantage has now been secured. Tai seems to be on the path to dying himself. Axios now in Dorm's main hall. He could even plant there, but he still wants to get the kills. Apparently, it's going to be a flurry of kills. He'll be fragged out, leaving us with one last defender alive. Take Queen. In a 1v3 situation, he's going to be unable to deny the plant of the diffuser, and peeking a Kali would be extremely dangerous. He gets a first kill. That's a triple for him, but does not get another one. Unfortunately, I was thinking to myself, if he got 3 kills so far and there are 2 remaining attackers, alive, that means if he clutches this, it would be an ace, but unfortunately for him, he does not get said ace. Therefore, we will be seeing NTNS now in a match point situation. Let's go with the replays. Here we go. So yeah, as we could see, Axios was just running around left and right, and he seemed to be at a loss as to what to do, or he didn't have his bearings up, he didn't know where the opponents were, and that just proved too costly for him. TKT, on the other hand, he was just waiting there ready, because of course, once the diffuser was planted, and once the last defender being Tay had been spotted, they knew exactly where their pressure was going to be coming from, so that was a fairly easy kill to get. Alright, here he gets a frag, thanks to the advantage of surprise, but nothing more, unfortunately. There you go. So, match point situation. By virtue of having lost, Surf Esports can go bunks again. But yeah, they just lost here. So, on paper, things wouldn't be too encouraging for the Orange team. However, adaptability is a major factor. NTNS, they may think to themselves, oh, we just won, let's do the same thing again to produce the same result as last time. But then Surf Esports would step in and say to themselves, we just lost, what can we do better to not fall victim to the same ploy? And therefore, if the blue team, the attackers, were to do the same thing as last round, but then Surf Esports were to step up, NTNS would be likely to lose the upcoming round. But ultimately, I can only, guess and make predictions. I can't exactly know for sure how it's going to play out. One thing I do want to point out is Blood Merchant's going to be playing Bandit. So previously, it wasn't NTNS's playstyle, but previously we were seeing Mute play or protect the reinforced walls. And this time, of course, right, Hibat or Kali has a relative ease at destroying those things. So he's saying 72. It looks like it's quite possible, indeed. Quite possible, but for the time, actually, since there is the clean feed I'm receiving is a YouTube live stream, and I'm just scrolling back 3 minutes. The game could also already be over, but I'm not gonna fast forward because I do not want to spoil myself and you guys. So Hyena right here in the attic area. Oh, that flash grenade! He's barely gonna survive that. Luckily for him, the wall hasn't been yet breached by Thermite, because of course Kryptonite was in the big tower breaching that angle, but he's rotating. Oh, and that is gonna be Jaeger falling victim to Kunai. Kunai, who is covering for Kryptonite, right? The other wall is gonna be breached, and I do want to say, Kryptonite is playing pretty well. Like, it is such a small thing to consider that as I don't want to say novice player, but I'm not the best player out there myself. If I was Thermite, my instinct, my gut reaction would be to try to push through the opening I just made. But Kryptonite knows what he has to do. He opens up one wall, and then he runs out, goes on the roof, goes to the other side of the building, and opens up the other wall. That is putting a lot of pressure on the defense. Kali right here will be looking. Oh, is she destroying? Yes, she is destroying that reinforced or deployable shield. You also do have a Ying who's going to be flashing for the time being. So it looks like a rush is happening pretty quickly, but Dr. Montagnizer, he is shooting, not getting a kill. I couldn't tell you exactly what's going on over there, but there's a lot of action happening. As soon as he peeks, though, he gets fragged out. Ayu's and Kryptonite getting a kill in rapid succession, leaving us with a 2v4 situation. Blood Merchant isn't on bomb side. That is worrying, meaning that Takeweave is basically the one and only guy defending the bomb site, preventing the diffuser from being planted. Through verticality, Blood Merchant has a slight line of sight, but it's going to be very little. That Natural Cell might get the kill, it might not. It will get the down, but not out. Ultimately, it is all that matters. At the same time, though, Tay is going to fall down, and therefore, we will be seeing a 1v3 situation. It is a 1v2 as long as the diffuser is being planted. But somebody's holding that angle. He will get the flick, but not before he gets refragged, immediately freezing, putting an end to the game. NTNS will win this with a decisive margin, 7-2. That's nothing to laugh at. And Kunai already putting down GG easy. Yeah, there you go. I could have just jumped back forward, but I didn't wanna spoil us. There you go. Kunai will be MVP. Let's just take a look at the standings here. So we can see Kunai 11 kills. That's a lot. Juno top fragger of his team with 8 kills. The thing is, Blood Merchant with only 2 frags, and if Blood Merchant and Hyena had around 6 or 7 kills, the team as a whole would have won a lot more rounds. Their performances weren't too even, or some players were pulling more than the others. And had the weaker elements been up to par to their higher counterparts, Surf Esports would have given a lot more resistance or a lot more trouble to NTNS. Unfortunately, it was just too much to ask of them. So there you have it. It is going to be a nice little victory for NTNS here. And also, so Zug, if you want to unmute yourself, this was the second to last week of the competition, isn't it? And of course, that's true. So do we want to get the players in for an interview? Because... yeah, of course. Okay. Oh, wait, okay, yeah, in half an hour. Yeah, of course. So I'll just be conducting an interview with them, and then we will be putting the stream in a back thingy. No worry. By the way, Ashes, thank you for following, my man. But yeah, the channel is gonna be this one. You may not notice, of course, we're not on the same channel as usual. So I just renamed or repurposed another channel and not changed the scenes one bit. So Ashes just followed my Twitch channel, but that's not the channel which we're streaming to right now. Okay, let's just jump right here. Salut guys, hey guys. How are you doing? So the stream was in English. I'm going to stick to English because I jumped in here to conduct an interview if you guys would be interested in doing that. So let's talk about the game. You won 7-2. And, this is a pretty decisive margin, right? You won by a lot, actually. It was Oregon, so Oregon would be the youngest map in the competitive map pool, and therefore it's quite defense-sided because as a community, we haven't yet figured out the best ways to attack the different bomb sites. So that gives you an initial advantage. But when you came to attack, you weren't, fumbling or having difficulties unlike your opponents. So I want to talk about why and how we were able to keep the same performances on defense compared to the offensive side. Yeah.
Seconds left.
Oh wait, give me a second. Give me a second. You were muted, unfortunately.
Oh, I was muted. All
yeah,
right.
because I was sitting on a call with Zug the entire time, and he didn't want to be heard. So I had him mute the Discord, but I just unmuted you right now.
All right. So you didn't hear nothing I said, right?
So I heard you, but the stream didn't. So I would encourage you
Uh,
to restart from scratch.
all right. So we played that map yesterday, right? So and we got destroyed when we were playing attack because we had no coordination, and we had like you said, this is a new map, so a lot of people don't know how to attack that map, and we like a lot of teams are having trouble. So when you
Yeah,
start in defense, you start with like a big advantage. So we put 5-1, so that's like encouraging us to do well. And what we did differently yesterday when we played in that map, we just played as a team. Like basic push and attack, but we just had like the refrag. So we had someone big window watching flank when they're gonna be rotating like
yeah,
to hold angles. And when we were pushing sight, we would just like, all right, if I die, just refrag. Swing as well at the same time as me, just refrag. So that's how we pretty much won every round. And that's how I think this map's gonna be played like in the next few weeks, because it's not only about like you know uh you holding that angle, and when I push he's gonna rotate whatever, because this is a really defensive map because there's no really good push right now. That's
yeah.
known, just only basic push. So that's pretty
And
much we done.
if I was to talk about your composition, you were playing Kali when you were attacking. And
Yeah,
Kali is going to be robbing you of a lot of firepower, and meaning that you'll have, an extra harder time to actually push. So that the trade-off is basically utility, allowing Thermite to open up the reinforced wall basically every single round. But then once it's time to actually push in, you'll be so much weaker because you have, basically one full automatic gun less. Did that impede you? Were you playing Kali simply because Thatcher was banned and Twitch isn't really a viable option in this instance, or were you really playing her for the gun?
we play there because like obviously Tantra's banned, and we don't want to go downstairs and to play against like those roamers. So we just Kali, and we play pretty much nomad I think every round in attack
Yep,
to
yeah, you
put
did.
those nomads and stop these guys from flanking. Or we got some small angles to watch for flank and not all angles. So when we're pushing with Kali and her secondary like is they put the flash gun on it. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah, yeah.
remember the gun on it. It's doing pretty good, honestly. And I think it was TK playing Kali, and he's doing a really good job with it, refragging. So for us, it's not an issue. It's actually like an advantage because it is like we got her in like every strat if Tantra's banned. So for us, it was
Okay,
just
okay. So she's not just a permanent stature for you. She's actually an integral component to your strategy, is what you're saying.
exactly, yeah,
I
exactly.
see. I see. Well, I think this is about it for me. I don't have too many more questions in mind. So I do not cast for the Summer Cup too often, and therefore I will have one or two questions, i.e., this is basically the end of the season, right? You have this week and then the next one, and then that's going to be it? Or you're nearing the end of the season? And you
Yeah,
are in the top three right now, so your place is basically cemented. There's not too much time for you to basically start choking on your games and start losing the ranking that you have. So you'll
yeah.
be basically making it into the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure about that. Like, I don't think even we have enough games to go like down in places, like to not do quals. Pretty sure we like it's obvious that we're gonna be doing quals. And after the teams we lost against in early season, I'm pretty sure like we changed a lot of strats. We changed the composition of the team, and I'm pretty sure like we can do really well in the next games when we're gonna be like what is it, a tournament or like
I think it's going to
Playoff.
be elimination format, the playoffs.
all right.
So, but once again, I'm just the caster here. I'm not the organizer. I didn't come up with the formats, so that's why. That's why I was kind of like asking a question while stating that you're in the top three. So you will be playing against, in the playoffs. You'll be playing against a few teams which you've played before, right? Because you've played in the main season. Is there any team which you think is going to be extra scary, or do you think you have a reasonable shot at having, a good standing at the end of the season?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're gonna have a good standing at the end of this season. You're talking about now or in the
The
future?
playoffs. I mean the
All right,
playoffs. Like you
playoffs.
make it to the playoffs, you have to play
Yeah,
against, for example, Axios or against Hostile Actions. These are good, great names, big names.
yeah.
Do you think you can take them in the finals, or is it still gonna be a really tough challenge for you? And do you think third place would be just about right for us?
I won't say we can beat these guys because these guys can obviously surprise us, but I think if we play like today and yesterday, there's no doubt that we can go really far and me probably even win the final
All right.
without doubt.
Well, thank you for this. Thank you for the interview. Thank you for your time. GG's for a victory, but that is going to be it for me tonight. I don't think I have any more questions for you. So once again, GG's on your victory, and I wish you the best of luck for your upcoming games and for the playoffs. But until then, take care and have an amazing rest of the night.
Thank
Yeah,
you. You
you
too.
too.
And,
Thank you.
thank you
All
for
right.
casting.
You're
See you
welcome,
around.
man. Bye bye.
Bye.
So, I left you like tad too quickly. The last thing I do want to point out is there's going to be another game in 20 minutes on this channel. We will be casting, was it Axios? Let me just pull up the calendar real quick. I believe it is Axios against somebody else. It is going to be Axios against Freezing Frog. So that game is going to be also pretty nice. Of course, Axios are ranked second right now in the tournament. And Freezing Frog, though they don't have the best performances, they're really consistent in their games. So we can expect a certain level from them. So that's going to start in 20 minutes. We'll be kicking us into a Be Right Back screen. So thank you all for being here. And I will be seeing you guys, well, like I said, in 20 minutes. All right. See you guys later.
Attackers activating diffuser. Defenders have disabled the bomb diffuser. Defenders win. Attackers recovered the bomb diffuser. Defender is approaching the shoulder. Attackers drop the diffuser. Attackers bomb diffuser has been dropped. 10 seconds remaining. Attack. Attacker's bomb diffuser has been dropped. Bomb located by attacker. Activating diffuser. Bomb diffuser. Attackers have located a bomb. Bomb has been located. the bomb. Attackers bomb the diffuser. Attackers drop the diffuser. Seconds left. 10 seconds left. Attackers drop the diffuser. Attackers are activating the bomb. Operators, you have run out of time. Seconds remaining. Seconds left. Defender is approaching a kill zone. Defender exposed. Seconds remaining. Located a bomb. 15 seconds to go. Drop. Defenders have eyes on the diffuser. Attackers need to protect it. Attackers activating diffuser. Cover their diffuser. Time. Attackers are activating the diffuser. Attackers need to protect the diffuser. Position compromised. Seconds remaining. Bomb located by attackers. 5 seconds remaining. Attackers have dropped the bomb. Drop the bomb diffuser. Attackers have recovered their diffuser. Bomb has been located.
Yo guys, what's up? Yo guys, what's up? We will be having a match tonight between Axios Esports and Freezing Frog. Like you may have noticed, this is going to be the second game of the night, and like you may have also have noticed, it is not the first. It is the first time we're going to be streaming on this particular channel. So tonight, I am not going to be the observer. So Zug, the other organizer, who does a lot of work, in the backgrounds. Not really, in front of the cameras, is going to be hosting tonight, which will enable me to spend all of my energy on casting. Plus, the clean feed he's sending me is basically a YouTube live stream. I'm not going to divulge the URL, of course, simply because there is no delay baked into this stream. I'm just, 3 minutes behind, as you can see here. The interesting thing is this allows me to have a stream with no delay, but still have a delay on the game itself. So if I want to read and if I want to respond to the chat, this is going to be amazing. Plus, I know as a fact that the game has already started. It's just a matter of having the 3 minutes delay, catch up with the beginning of the game, and we'll be good to go. I.e., but at this point, there's only like around 2 minutes left before the match starts. I do love this approach of kind of firing up the stream once the game starts, rather than starting it whenever and then starting the game when the players are ready, because this way I know how much time I have, how long we're going to have to wait, and, generally speaking, I do have more info to feed you guys. So, Axios against Freezing Frog. This is going to be a good game. Axios, they are, surprisingly enough, not ranked first. They have been surpassed by Hostile Actions, but, by only a measly half a point. So, it is going to be really minor, right? One thing is for sure, they are going to be a powerhouse of a team. Freezing Frog, they are not, the highest ranked team. Oh yeah, I'm just gonna mute them real quick because they were talking in the pregame lobby. Axios or Freezing Frog, they're not the best team, right? They don't have the best ranking, or they're not like in the top 4 or anything along those lines. But they are still a really consistent team. And as far as consistent teams go, well, we know exactly what to expect from them, and therefore they're quite nice to watch. So yeah, he is just going to say ready, and he is going to be starting the game right about now. Asking, they're saying yes, and then we shall be good to go. And Gimme Prime saying Axios, easy clutch. Oh, Axios do have an easy clutch. It would seem to be likely. They are a really good team. They're in Challenger League after all, right? And any other team in this given tournament cannot, boast the same claim. So on that front, Axios would have, a bragging right more than anybody else. Why did I put an H sound in here? Wow. Okay. First round, we're going to be seeing an Oregon game, or an Oregon map be played tonight. This match is going to, I don't want to say mix things up, but all around, Oregon is, the newest map, the competitive map. Well, therefore, as a community, we don't exactly know how this map ticks, what the best ways of attacking it are, and all that good stuff. So even though the map in and of itself seems to be fairly good, or, good enough to be considered a competitive map, still, it is going to be defense-sided because, once again, the community doesn't exactly know the right way to push into that. Therefore, I would expect Freezing Frog to have the initial advantage, and if they're capable of, building a big lead enough, right at the roll swap, you might see them in a position where they only need to win 1 or maybe 2 rounds to seal the deal, and that could be interesting. But let's not forget who they're going up against. So Axios, they're on their way to become pros, so quite literally, they have direct and huge incentives to be basically the first team to figure out how to properly attack this map, to have strats and all that good stuff. However, screenshot has been saved by the observer. However, if Axios were to come up with, you know, an innovation with the best way to attack the map and all that good stuff, I would not expect them to reveal such a strategy on such a tournament, such a community tournament as this one. So therefore, Axios might not be playing at their best purposefully to keep the advantage of surprise for this or that strategy for, you know, a Challenger League playoff, for example. So these are kind of the factors that are at play. As we can see, we're scrolling through the different levels, and we can already see that there's a lot of platinum on the one team, and on the other one, though you do get to see a few players play platinum, it is not going to be consistent all across the board. Have to be on the sidelines for this one, but the boys got this. Let's go Axios. So the challenger rooting for his teammates. I will just repeat myself just to be sure, should some of you have just joined in. I myself don't have a delay, but the clean feed does. So don't worry about, you know, me responding immediately to your comments and then thinking, oh, well, the players could stream hack or anything along those lines. My clean feed is a YouTube video, or YouTube live stream, or should I say, and I'm purposefully 3 minutes behind to counteract any of those things. And of course, I will not be divulging the URL of the stream. Without any surprises, the first defense will be in the laundry area.
5 seconds left.
And laundry in and of itself is definitely the primary bomb site. I mean, for example, on a map such as Clubhouse, some teams will go CCTV first, some other teams will go church in the, you know, at the first opportunity, and this keeps the attacking team guessing. They can't, you know, hand-pick a composition to attack CCTV if there's a, you know, realistic or fair chance that the defense will be at the bottom floor instead. Here, laundry is a clear winner, is a clear favorite. And therefore, Axios probably haven't been caught off guard by having to attack the bottom side as compared to, for example, right here, the dorms. Waze has already been spotted, so of course the drone economy is going to be quite great. Crevet, I'm just going to pronounce his name in French, getting a first kill, but will be refragged immediately by Ashes. Ashes, who takes a bit of damage in the meantime, but, you know, nothing too major. He can still keep on going, you know, losing a bit amount of health, or losing a bit of health every kill he gets, and the rate is still going to be sustainable, right? Your roamer right here, Waze, has been spotted once more, so he's going to be pinched. If he doesn't do anything, he's just going to face down a coordinated push, and his demise will be extremely likely. Exactly as we see right here, Waze biting the dust due to Big Sexy, who can now basically turn his attention to the hatch and breach just about anything that comes into his field of view. With no remaining roamers on the defense, he has not to worry about anything and by not having any Cade either, which hasn't been banned, by the way, so Cade here could have been an interesting pick. Well, for example, utility-wise, I believe Cade could have been more interesting than Ella. Of course, then Waze wouldn't be a lightweight operator who could go roaming, all that good stuff, but still, the point is, Cade could have been interesting. So, we'll be seeing a frag and another frag and refrag actually in rapid succession. This time's going to be Axios, or Ashes biting the dust, leaving us with Telio, last player alive in a 1v3 situation. The nature of his utility can shut down, you know, a few angles, and he can buy time by doing this. Gets a first kill. Of course, his position is known. He gets another one. I didn't expect that. He took a lot of damage, and now Tom cannot just plant the diffuser with minimal danger to his person, right? He no longer has anybody covering for him. And the peak right here, Telio winning the round for Freezing Frog. A reverse sweep happening right here in a 1v3 situation. I don't want to put this down entirely to his utility because he didn't use it in that great a way, but still, ultimately, the toxic babes, he can toss them, you know, in a corridor, and then he doesn't have to think about said entryway into the bomb site until the smoke subsides, and that can buy him an important peace of mind, which is really hard to get by when you find yourself in a 1v3 situation. So, Telio with the clutch, absolutely earning MVP for the first round. He didn't falter under the pressure. You know, all around, generally speaking, this is what you're looking for in any player, because as soon as you put some pressure, or as soon as a player is under any amount of stress, if he just falls to the ground, he is not going to be able to pull through in those critical moments. Like, imagine if this was a match point situation. That could have been the difference, you know, the pressure between winning the game or losing the game or going into overtime, for example. So Tilio will absolutely be our MVP for the first round. Having won on the basement area, of course, Freezing Frog will go upstairs second. Once again, we'll not be seeing any Cade. That last time there would have been a real reason to pick him. This time, well, it's got to be your Jaeger reinforcing and protecting those reinforced walls. Madro, by the way, usually likes to play MP7 with his silencer on. We will eventually jump into a first-person view of him once you start shooting at actual enemies. We might see, but I believe I've heard a silence shot be fired here. So the anti-silence gun is really unusual in just about any competitive environment type of game. So that was like the oddity I wanted to point out. Other than that, Waze, who was playing Ella previously, will be playing Caveira this time. Caveira would be an interesting operator, but if he gets droned out, Caveira doesn't have the best guns ever. IMO. I mean, the pistol does have a lot of firepower, but really limited range. M12 shoots abysmally slow shotgun. We don't even talk about that because you're so limited in your range. So Waze won't be the best fragger. As soon as he gets droned out, I would assume his death sentence will be written in stone. But for the time being, it looks like Axios are quite content in putting pressure on bomb site itself, or on proxy rooms, such as, for example, the attic area. And Crevette, being a roamer, will get a kill on Ashes. Poor Ashes, he's entry fragger, not getting any kills this time. But Veros will be refragging him out, or will be getting the refrag, the Vengeance, in quick succession, in short order. Big Sexy is likely to breach that. Of course, there's no mute in the composition, and if there was any batteries, we would see the sparks. So that is likely to result in a kill on Madro, but no, Veros, you're missing that. How unfortunate. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter utility-wise. Thermite was able to breach, and that's all that matters. Caveira right here, finding himself in a full-on firefight, and that is exactly what I was mentioning. And Veros with a triple kill now. That is going to be huge. Tilio once again in a 1v4 situation. The clutch factor is going to be at play once more. Well, he has all of his health, so things are looking good on that front, but it's just about the only, good news I could give. And there you go. Big Sexy is, of course, going to get the kill because it was just not going to happen another time around. So you just keep the guy locked in there, and if he wants to go for the door, you just shoot him a few bullets in the face, and that should be just about everything you need, right? So, oh gosh, we only have 2 replays this round. So I don't mean to criticize or to throw you under the bus, but for example, your observer, in that instance, Tilio was in a 1v4 situation. If you take his POV, you're guaranteed to see the kill. Because it was Big Sexy. Big Sexy getting the kill. We were in versus POV. Versus didn't see much, unfortunately. So yeah, the observer is doing that job or that role for the first time tonight. He's learning on the job, and he's already doing a really good job at it. But I mean, yeah, nobody gets anything perfectly the first try. So there you go. That would be a slight, room for improvement. One thing's for sure, after having lost in the bunks area, of course Freezing Frog would go there again. They can't go in the basement, and I wouldn't dream of them going in the kitchen. I mean, that would just be suicide. So, and it looks like Tilio wanted to toss the camera on the racks, or on the shelves, but it's been destroyed. Oh, come on, Tilio, you can do better than that. You will get it. There we go. I would assume this camera will have extremely limited line of sight. And it's just in reach to be recovered. Wow, Tilio having loads of difficulties. And the problem is, he has a reinforce and all of that. If he wants to pre-place a nitro cell beneath, any kind of floor, it is not exactly too late, but it will come down to the wire. So, yeah, I would encourage Tilio to try those camera placements, in a scrim, in a private match, to get them down a bit more quickly next time around. Because, for example, he just reinforced a single wall. This is bound to make the defense itself so much, weaker by virtue of having one more soft wall around the bomb sites. So the drone economy is going to go at work. Tilio will be right here, supported by Crevette this time. So the idea is, if Hiroma gets fragged out, of course, we have the refrag possibility, which was absent last time around. It was Waze playing Caveira. It was, caught off guard there. This time, however, Waze, your signature roamer, will be playing with Vigil, so he is ever evolving, and to me it is slightly, or, you know, somewhat worrying, for the simple reason that it seems like he doesn't know what he wants to do. So if he's always second-guessing himself, trying one thing, trying another thing, then eventually he's bound to not have the best performances out there. Like, if he was, for example, to always play Legion, or to always play Vigil, he could know exactly where to hide to make it so that if he's cloaked, you can't know if he's the room next to you, or, you know, a floor below, that kind of stuff. Or goo mines, if you want to be a roamer with Vigil. Place the Gumas in a few doorways, and then you get to know when it pings exactly where your opponent is. But, you know, by always changing, his performances can just not be the best. Telia will get a frag, but once again, your Waze has been put down pretty quickly, leaving us this time in a 3v3 situation. So, of course, Axios are able to get in, are able to get a kill or two, but they are, you know, getting just as many losses as they're getting kills. And that is already looking way better for Freezing Frog. Let's remind ourselves, we were in a 1v4 situation last time around. This time it's a 2v3, which can still be turned upside down. I mean, a single kill in a 1v3 situation will be highly unlikely to see the clutch, but still. So we do have a silhouette right here, and the barbed wire is going to be extremely easy, but the Zofia concussion nade will reveal Crevette's position, leaving us with Ryu in a 1v3 situation. And that's exactly what I was saying. You know, a double kill can happen so quickly in this game. Even when you have a massive advantage, it can be turned upside down pretty quickly. And the scary thing is, Freezing Frog, they won a round, right? So you could think to yourself, okay, so they won the first round, they are in a position, or they're good enough, they're skilled enough to provide a healthy challenge to Axios. But the one and only round that Freezing Frog has won was due to a clutch, and a clutch is not a reliable and sound way to win the game. You can always think to yourself, okay, it doesn't matter if all of us die, TLA will just pick up the slack and kill everybody for us, basically. Because eventually, he'll be caught off guard, he's going to be the first one to die, he's just going to have a dumb round or anything along those lines. And then the status quo is just that Axios is going to steamroll through Freezing Frog. Not that they steamrolled through them this round around, or this time around, but you get the general picture. Whatever Freezing Frog are doing right now, it is just not sustainable. But the good news is, since we've been downstairs 3 runs ago at this point, they can go there again, and they will do just that with a slight variation to their setup. This time, we'll be seeing a Cade, we'll be seeing a Mira, and it kind of goes back to the main point I was making earlier. It looks like Freezing Frogs don't have any, you know, established strategies. It looks like they're inventing or adapting or coming up with new things as the game goes on. And such a match right here is not the right time, nor is it the place to dabble and to try new things. They should have done this in scrims, in private matches, before the game started, because now, well, Cade, for example, it's quite easy to know where you want to toss in those electric claws on the ceiling, at the hatches. But Ryu will now be the roamer, whereas Waze is going to be staying on site. So if sometimes you're roaming, if sometimes you're not dedicating yourself to a single playstyle, you're not getting the best version of yourself that you could be given that playstyle, and that is what is worrying me, you know? Nonetheless, the one good news is that this time, your roamer is going to be a Vigil alongside Crevette with Jaeger, and therefore, if he wants to remain cloaked, he can keep the attackers guessing a bit as to his exact positioning. However, I believe he's been spotted. Plus, yeah, the attackers are actively acting as if they know where he is, which they absolutely do. Ash is again taking a healthy amount of damage. Oh, that could be huge right here. Ryu is likely to get flanked as a result of that opening. But no, he is still stubbornly remaining alive. The thing is, he's going to get outfragged or killed pretty quickly here. So he's playing for time, but ultimately a firefight, even one as prolonged as this one, which took, well, I want to say 25 seconds, is not going to be as massive or isn't going to be as meaningful as, for example, a roamer, which took the attackers in a wild goose chase. He was not able to escape, to keep them guessing, to force them to, you know, join him out a second time, burning utility in the process, you know, shooting down drones as he goes, forcing Zofia, for example, to toss in those concussion nades to know if he's in the area, all that good stuff. Crevette here is going to be likely to get a first kill. That is going to be Thermo. Will he get a second one? Unfortunately not. He is not out of the picture so far, and that's exactly what I was talking about, right? His position was known. He's forcing the attackers to rush in behind him, and being this aggressive was not expected by Veros. He now gets a double kill, but this looks like it's the end of the line. He is in a cul-de-sac. He's in a dead-end area. There's only one way out. It's going to be between those two bunks. And of course, that rotation is now guarded. So he has no way but to gun his way out or to accept defeat. Except if he wants to run out the window, but I don't expect that. I don't see this happening anytime soon. He's going to be peeking quite aggressively. Somehow not concussed. Triple kill. He is now on his way on getting the ace, though he is low on health and has no health whatsoever. He gets the 4th. What is happening? Ancient one. Now on a 1. Okay, yeah, he gets that kill. So, no ace for Crevette. Did Ancient One also get the frag on Ryu? I don't think so. So no ace for Thatcher, but still the capabilities for the opportunity rather of getting a nice clutch, which would earn him mad respects from his teammates and from a few fans in the chat. He doesn't realize there's somebody right here, and that shotgun, of course, at that range is going to be absolutely devastating. Though it was the SMG-11. SMG-11 also has a crazy good rate of fire, so this is absolutely gonna murder Thatcher at that range. But all in all, this is the kind of rounds we want to see more often, because of course, if you want to have a healthy competition, you can have one team steamroll the other. But once again, even though it wasn't a clutch, it relied heavily on the amazing performances of a singular player, which you can't base your strategies around that, like I said last time. So it worked out more than once, so Freezing Frogs, congrats. But still, eventually your luck is gonna run out. Well, pronunciation. Thank you, myself. Your luck is gonna run out, and then you're gonna get caught with. I don't mean to criticize, but no convincing strategy, right? The strat being run around the map, get spotted, have the attackers chase after you, and get 4 kills in the process before you get gunned down. It's. As soon as you meet your match, as soon as you get outgunned, which you're likely to be in the first place because you are overwhelmed, you are outnumbered, things are going to go south pretty quickly. But nonetheless, for the time being, I am maybe being a bit too dramatic, maybe I'm a bit too negative. We're seeing two things. First of all, we're seeing a 2-2 scoreline. So against Axios, keeping an equilibrium is, no small feat. Second of all, Freezing Frog, they lost on bunks. They played twice, they lost twice there, and that's why they went launcher again. So they could go there again. So, again, being bunks. And yet they decide, or they elected, to go dining room, which is going to be quite surprising, or probably catching Axios off guard. Waze, who is also playing Tachanka, so the Lord is going to be making an appearance. I thought, I was seeing this, and I believe you weren't because of the replays, but I was seeing this and I thought to myself, okay, so he's just going to 6-pick, and that's going to be the most obvious 6-pick ever. But apparently not. He is unironically playing with the Tachanka, which does have some merit. I mean, he's holding the window, he's cutting off the rotation as far as small tower is concerned, which is technically logistics office, I want to say. But then again, he is sorely exposed from that window. Plus, anybody could just check a nade in. Luckily / unluckily, depending on who you're rooting for, Axios does not have anybody who could be breaking frag grenades to the table. But on theory, Waze was still sorely exposed. And should that strat work once, I would assume Axios will wise up to that, and will find a proper way to address this strategy next time around, or the next time the Freezing Frogs elect to defend the dining room area. Big Sexy will have been the first one to die. So, losing Hibana, losing hard breaching capabilities is really unfortunate. Luckily for Axios, Tom will be playing Thermite also. And therefore, by losing Hibana, your hard breaching capabilities aren't entirely shut down. Plus, though it's a 4v4 situation, look at the health pool. Waze and Ryu are so low on health that they will be extremely easy targets. I mean, just toss a flashbang on their heads, just have it bump up on them, and they will be put down, down but not out. They could still be revived, right? But still, and that might even be better, because if you get the one down, and any other teammate tries to revive, that's going to be 2 enemies incapacitated for the time being. Nonetheless, I'm talking about hypotheticals here. Waze is going to bite the dust, and for good this time, leaving us with the 3v4 situation. And it looks like the attack is well poised to just funnel in on OBJ. I mean, Tom breaching that wall, it looks like it was just a distraction because he's not going to be pursuing the angle. Actually, he's droning, so that's why he was probably, rotating. And that angle that Madro is holding could be quite interesting. We can hear one of those concussion nades being tossed. Oh, is his head barely not visible? I think it is barely not. Oh, he doesn't get the kill. If his position wasn't known, now it's going to be. Plus, Ashes being the scary entry fragger he is. Yeah, Ashes is sure to make short work of Madro if he was to go up against him. But I was going to say, doesn't really have to push. The Fuse is being planted. Just so happens that Madro was aware of that too. Madro had to deny that, and by rushing in, he just signed his death sentence. Crevette now finding himself in a 1v2 situation. The health pool is, of course, favoring Axios. Ash is holding the one angle. Tom seems to be laying back or, you know, staying behind, watching the left-hand hallway right here. So there's no way for, or no easy way for Crevette to make it back on bomb site to deny the plan of the diffuser, or to deny the diffuser to be destroyed. He could maybe rotate through meeting and then come out the doorway to the right, but that would just be way too long and not be worth it at all, you know. The diffuser seems to have been left alone. Axios are just playing for time, so they force him to rush it a bit further out. And of course, right, time is just not gonna wait for him to hesitate like he did. Axios thus winning round number 5 by disarming the bombs. Tom was outside, of course, because he didn't have to peek. He didn't have to be immediate or in direct line of sight with the diffuser, because if you hear the diffuser be destroyed, you still have 7 seconds to rush in and get your kill. So that was the sound thing to do, and of course it provided results. At some point, you don't even need to peek. You don't even need to play aggressive. You can just let the timer do the job for you. So now, Axios will be recovering the lead. So they were leading 2-1, that it became a 2-2, but of course Axios are not going to allow Freezing Frogs to win 2 rounds in a row and thus take themselves the lead. So there you go, blue team once again coming out on top, but nothing is set in stone, right? Though the one crucial detail that is absolutely scaring me, if you are a Freezing Frog fan, is this map. By being, you know, the newest addition to the competitive map pool, you don't know what, or we as a community don't know what the best ways of attacking it are. I mean, new attacks or new details all around are going to be figured out. It's, you know, a given at this point. The thing is, we're just not there yet, and therefore it is considered defense-sided. By even having the advantage of the map, Freezing Frogs, they are capable of keeping the game pretty tight. The scores are really close. So I'm worried that as soon as the rule swap occurs, Axios are just going to tear through Freezing Frog, win, you know, 1 or 2 rounds, 3 rounds they need to close the game. And that is going to be it, I fear. So we went dining last round, and this is round number 6, the last one for the rule swap, which will be played in bunks again. It figures, right? Because they couldn't go laundry for another round because, you know, they just won there recently. So they have to go somewhere else. This somewhere else will be a weaker bomb site, even though you'd consider bunks as being pretty good. The unfortunate news is Freezing Frogs, or Freezing Frog, it's singular actually, were unsuccessful to win there. And therefore, if I was to look at historical data, Axios would have a solid round on their hands here that would be quite likely to win it out. Plus, this time around, I'm not seeing too many roamers. I mean, I do believe there are 1 or 2 silhouettes at the first floor, but they don't seem to be playing too aggressively. It would appear that this time there is an electric line. Veros will get an absolute kill on Madro. This is why you want to have roamers, by the way. I mean, if you can get the kill on the one guy downstairs, well, then in this instance, Madro could have stayed alive. Had your Cade, kept on breathing, well then maybe, just maybe, he could have denied the breach of that reinforced wall. So I feel like Freezing Frog, they're a weird team. Sometimes they will win, they'll get like 4 kills thanks to a single roamer, but then they'll not, the next round around, they don't have a single roamer, and that causes them to basically falter under the pressure pretty quickly. I mean, utility-wise, even though only a single player has died, Freezing Frog are seeing their defenses being eroded pretty aggressively. I mean, they're losing barbed wire, reinforced walls, deployable shields, Smoke's using his toxic babes. And once the real push occurs, Axios are going to find the OBJ being that much softer as a result of the, you know, utility being dwindled down as it's been. I'm making too many grammatic errors tonight. I'm sorry about that. But all around, if the push seemed to be shaping up to be fairly unilateral this time, or in the last few seconds, we've seen a few attackers rotate. For example, Big Sexy is going to be at the big window. We're also going to be seeing somebody else repelling. That silhouette, I believe it was Veras, has just been fragged out. Ryu getting a kill on Ashes. The Ancient One also getting a refrag pretty quickly. Doc falling down too, and of course Hibana is not going to be able to revive herself, unlike Doc might have been able to. Ancient One, therefore, last player alive in a 1v2 situation. The Ancient One is roughly at 2/3 of health, so he can maybe take a beating, but not too much, right? Trading blows is not going to be his specialty. He's no Rock, he's no Doc, but he doesn't know exactly where his opponents are. So there you go. Freezing Frog winning the round here on the top floor, unlike they did the 2 first times around. So they will be setting precedent and having the better performances than what I was expecting them to be. Or showing better performances than I expected them to. Wow. Wow. I know I'm better than that. I just need to cast more often. Though it feels like I'm casting a heck of a lot these days. Nonetheless. So we will be having a 3-3 scoreline for the role swap. This is quite interesting. Because, I mean, I thought Axios were going to win. I thought we were going to be seeing a 4-2 scoreline. So the good news is the match will be going for a bit longer than I personally expected. And the interesting thing is, we will be seeing Axios, what they look like or what they're capable of when they're defending. Which is likely to be somewhat different compared to Freezing Frog. So, whichever teams ends up winning, we could look at the differences between both of these teams' defensive setups, and we could point to these defenses or these differences as being something to do / to not do, depending on how we want to look at things. If we were to want to analyze that game after it's been played, to further our own research of the game's meta. One thing that is definitely a given, and one thing that is definitely a staple of the bottom defense, is the fact that you do want to open up a rotation hole to bunkers from the B bomb site soft wall. I mean, when the map first came out, or even when it was still in the TTS, people would always just reinforce that, and we wouldn't go for the extended hole because ultimately you need a single kill to have a pretty clear entryway into B bomb site. But if you were to lose the one player, and if the attackers were to play this aggressively, of course you'd have other defenders that are on bomb site that could just turn around, and that would defeat the purpose of having a single kill to find an open bomb site. So that is a given, and I spent way too much time talking about that, and we missed out on just about any other point in this defensive setup. I don't see too many roamers though. And that could be interesting, because remember how Freezing Frog were able to get 4K with a single roamer? Well, Axios won't be in a position to do the same, simply because of the quite literal defender's positionings. However, it is going to make the OBJ itself a tougher nut to crack by not having anybody outside. Well, all of your gun firepower, all of your utility and awareness is going to be concentrated around the bomb site, and at the end of the day, isn't it what really matters? Waze will get a first kill in Ashes. He will have to trade a shield, but that's what this shield is there for. So, utility-wise, Blackbeard did exactly what he was supposed to do. Madra will be breaching hatch after hatch, and we can really see that Freezing Frog, they just rotated and they just migrated from the one end of the building to the other. So, the thing I do like to see here is that they're testing the waters, and if something doesn't work out, they're not afraid of trying something else or pulling back and going for plan B. And I will be opening up a parenthesis here and going off course for I will be diverging for just a few sentences here. The key difference between a human player and an AI when it comes to chess is that the AI isn't emotionally invested in their strategies. So if something doesn't work out, they're going to pull back and they're going to try something else. But whereas humans, we have our emotions to keep in check. So if we think, oh, it doesn't look too good, I might just have to pour more resources into making the one strategy work. Well, you might even be better off pulling back and trying something else. Here, as we could see, Freezing Frog winning a flawless round. They had no issues whatsoever to rotate, and they had no issues keeping their emotions in check, basically. It is going to be a big tangent, and I wasn't able to explain it succinctly or precisely. Oh, we only have the one clip for the replays. Did I not hit the button? So yeah, let's just look at this. Okay, because it is a double kill. I see. Still. It's not even a double kill. He dies. Yeah. It is what it is. It is what it is. So there you go. When something doesn't work out, rotating or giving up on the strategy, and not just keeping on investing resource after resource to make it happen, and finding the path of least resistance is an art in and of itself. And on that front, I can only congratulate Freezing Frogs, because winning in a flawless round, that's no small feat. Okay, so round number 7 has been played in Laundry, and resulted in a failure for Axios, so of course they will go there again. So Freezing Frog, all around, they did what Axios didn't expect to. They did not push the bunks area, and they were upstairs where no roamers were to be seen, and therefore Freezing Frog, they were unimpeded when it came to walking right up to the bomb site itself. Once you were there, of course, you have to get your kills, of course you have to prove your worth, but it's going to be so much easier if you have 5 players up as compared to if you had to lose 1 or 2 players to the roamers, you know, especially if it was to be, for example, your hard breacher, right? Losing Therma would have been huge to a roamer, but if, of course, Axios doesn't tick like that, apparently. Ultimately, we are seeing the, as far as I can tell, exact same composition as last round, and that is somewhat worrying because, of course, Axios, whatever they did, didn't work out. But they do have a head on their shoulders, right? I mean, they have more than just 2 neurons in their brains. They will know exactly what went wrong, and they will be acting accordingly to not get caught off guard like last round. So, if Freezing Frog thinks to themselves, oh, well, let's just do the same thing to produce the same results, they are not keeping into consideration their opponent's movements. This is bound to, you know, rob you of a few amount of hit points. Oh gosh, but Big Sexy is going to lose a lot of health by doing so. Luckily for him, there is a dog on the team, so Veras will be healing him pretty quickly, and isn't that Smoke's strength? He is going to be in a pretty tight and confined corridor, so he can quite easily just flood it with smoke, deny access to it to the attackers as a whole. And right here, we're going to be seeing Freezing trying the exact same thing. It didn't work out in the freezer. Let's rotate. Let's go main stairs, see what we can do there. Atilio seems to even be attempting or contemplating, at the very least, a tower push. And they're really looking at the easiest way to attack. This time, like I said, Axios are going to be aware of that. That flash grenade is going to detonate, but Axios, Ashes isn't going to be too impacted by it. And we saw one silhouette right here. Waze losing a lot of health. Veras getting the first blood. So health pool wise, things are not looking too good for Freezing Frog. Like I said at the beginning of the round, doing the exact same thing might be generally a good idea, but that was not taking into consideration your opponents. And you know, it's kind of a tier level. You know, a mediocre player could think to himself, oh, how can I win? But then he's not thinking about how his plan can be foiled by his opponents. A better player would be thinking, and I feel like I'm even going into game theory, but this time I feel like I'm referring to poker. You can think as to what your opponent is doing to counteract what you're doing. That's fine, but then you can also think about what your opponent thinks you're going to be doing, and then, you know, play disinformation and that kind of stuff. But right here, Freezing Frog, they were on the first level of those made-up echelons. They were really just thinking about what they themselves can be doing and not about how Axios can be counteracting them. And it's going to show. 9 seconds remaining. Axios are bound or are on their way to make a flawless round. Waze low on health, of course, doesn't get a single kill. And that is going to be a flawless round this time, claimed by the blue team. All around, however, even though Freezing Frog lost that round in a brutal manner, I am still surprised as to how well they're performing. I mean, winning a round on attack, flawless round on attack is no small feat, especially against Axios. I mean, I feel like just about everybody believed that this match would be fairly one-sided. And granted, Axios are, I don't want to say still likely to win it. I thought it was, or I don't want to say but people I talked to seem to believe it will be a 7-1 game, and it is absolutely not shaping up to be a 7-1 game. We might even see overtime, actually, at the rate this is going. And I would not be against that in the slightest. But for in the meantime, or
Defenders, protect your
until
bombs
then,
from being defused by attackers.
Axios having one in the basement, of course, they will defend the laundry. Not the defended laundry successfully. They will now be going bunks. And the bunks defense will be, make an appeal. Oh, that's a French expression that I'm trying to translate word for word. The top floor defense will be making use of an Echo. So we hadn't seen Tom play Echo before. He was on dock. Generally speaking, he's still in the same play style, still same gun. But ultimately, it does seem like Axios are expecting the round to go in the last seconds, because that's what Echo was for, right? And when you have, say, 15 seconds remaining on the clock, you have to get the diffuser done. You have to plant come what may, and that is where Echo shines. So it does look like Axios have learned from their last round. They won it, but that doesn't mean you can't learn from it. And they realized, oh well, it looks like Freezing Frog, if we're capable of halting their initial momentum, their initial push, they will be hesitating until the very last moment. And this is where Tom using this kind of operator could be really brilliant, actually. Until then, we can see a lot of operators just firing their guns left and right. But I don't believe that every attacker is going to be behind ways. So it looks, yeah, of course, Madro is, from the looks of his silhouette, I believe he's going to be in the master's bedroom. So this push would not be unilateral. They were apparently trying to flank the defenders and put some pressure on them from a few different angles at once. We are going to be seeing a healthy amount of roamers, actually. I mean, is it like 3 roamers, 3 blue silhouettes I saw on the first floor? Of course, Ferros is there to plant the nitrile cell on the ceiling. But should we see a rush plant, which I don't expect to see happening, but still, the hypothetical possibility is still there. Well, then you'd have a lot of roamers to have to come back. For example, right here, your Montaigne. Oh, and that actually can get a double kill. It is going to get a double. And Ryu being down, well, what I was going to say is that Ryu could just deploy his shield in that exact doorway and get, deny the access to a few defenders. But he's dead. That doesn't mean that the round is lost, as we can see here. Tilio getting a nice kill, but now he'll be chasing a ghost. The ghost being the yokai drone. He thought he saw one. No sparks have been lit here. He didn't get it. The good news is, given that Nitrile Cell, Crevette is still up, so the IQ could still find them pretty easily. Plus, if Tom is sitting on the drones, he would be an easy target through the... Is he glitching? He's likely glitching. Oh, that's unfortunate. Yeah, he's got to be glitching. And of course, he's going to be put down eventually. Vera saying, nah. TV saying, well, I lied here. So now we're going to be finding ourselves in a pickle, referring to Freezing Frog. In a 2v4 situation, they had a 2-to-1 ratio, of players remaining alive. And with 45 seconds remaining on the clock, how is there no rotation hole right there? It is going to be severely hampering the defense. They can't rotate. Their movements are going to be pretty predictable. The good news is, of course, oh, Crevette, he's going to be above you. Oh no, Crevette, 28 seconds remaining on the clock. The good news here is Madro has the diffuser. Oh, he could get a kill here, but that floor, is it destructible? I believe it is. I want to say that map is quite new. I don't know it by heart yet. Madro getting killed. Now a 2v2 situation, they have brought this back to an equilibrium with no rotation hole. Holding that angle could, block off the defenders where they are. Madro will be making good use of that. He'll be trying to plant. But now, Crevette is being quite aggressive. He should have just held an angle. Veros will get a... Oh no, Tom got the second kill. And therefore, yeah, Veros... Tom got the first one, Veros got the second, I want to say... No, the other way around. Veros getting the final kill cam. Okay, so there you have it. Axios now once again in the lead. As we're seeing a pretty big ban wave happening. So, of course... A team has to be in the lead because an odd amount of rounds has been played. So I don't want to say, oh, Axios are going to win the next 2 rounds and the game is going to be over by then. But I am quite surprised to see how close the game is. I know I'm repeating myself, but especially after the role swap, now that Freezing Frog have the difficult side, they are still keeping the rounds pretty close. I mean, this 2v2 could have been won quite easily. I want to say, if IQ hadn't played this aggressively when it came time to, cover for your thermite. So, a mistake here and there, which Axios are absolutely going to capitalize on. But ultimately, ultimately things are looking good for Freezing Frog. Not good as in, oh, they're gonna win for sure, but good as in Freezing Frog, I believe, knowing the skill difference between these two teams, didn't come into the game expecting to actually win, or I would be quite surprised if they unironically had this mindset. Instead, simply knowing that they were able to pull 4 rounds against Axios should be considered a victory in and of itself. If I was playing against Ashes, I would believe that personally. Quick little trivia, in 2018, we were on the same team. Ashes and I, so I know his playstyle, I know him, and he's a monster. That guy's a monster. He's gonna make it to Pro League, I'm sure of that. But for the time being, as far as this game is concerned, it does look like Freezing Frog only have spawned 2 players on the garbage dump side. I believe I'm translating this maybe not correctly. The spawn side, on west side. There you go, and the 3 others on main entrance. Ryu once again playing Montaigne. So Montaigne is going to be an interesting player because you really do depend on your teammates' cover, right? Ryu, in and of itself, he's not going to get too many kills. He can feed intel. He can maybe provide a distraction, but it would be quite surprising if he was to single-handedly push the front lines backwards towards the OBG. It would be quite surprising if he was to be forcing Axios to fall back. We absolutely know there's a rumor up here, right? The camera being blue, steadily blue. Somebody's holding it. The proximity alert. These are telltale signs. So if Ashes hadn't been spotted out, no, he's been. Crevette getting a kill on Big Sexy. So that is going to be your Yokai, your Echo actually being lost really early into the round. Utility-wise, that is pretty big, but ultimately, it only matters if you can get the diffuser planted. You know, Echo's absence isn't going to be worth much if you all get out-fragged right here, for example, by Veras before you even make it remotely close to the OBJ. And that is absolutely going to be diffuser lost. Not that the defense knows that. The angle he was holding was quite tight. But ultimately, I mean, Crevette and Telio, whatever they're doing down there is going to be meaningless. I mean, for example, right here, Waze is on bomb side. He could be planting, but he does not have the lunchbox. And right here, of course, the defenders know that. They're coming back downstairs. Ash is getting a triple kill. Now, finding themselves in a 1v2 situation. Ryu, the Montaigne, last player alive. And that is exactly what I was referring to. He is getting kills. Granted. Or he's not getting kills, he's remaining alive, and he's feeding his teammates intel, granted. But what is it worth if your teammates aren't able to use said intel to get the kills? What is it worth if you're the last remaining player alive? I mean, right here, caught between 2 lines of fire, there's nothing you can do. I mean, the shield doesn't warp around him. And there you go, Ash is getting a final kill cam. There was a 4K for him, I believe. So, nicely played by Axios. So in the chat, people are asking, and people are talking about among themselves, asking. Let me just put on the replays. Why is it this close? Good question. They are in CACL, I believe. They are, though it's not the exact same roster, like Panda is pointing out. Kunai threw a round against Axios. We lost 87. Freezing Frog 172, 73. I do not understand. Ancients is in CL, but there's only Ancients who's not on the main roster. Kunai saying that's it. It's a good that's it. Axios in CL. Oh yes, Axios, they are in Challenger League, which is you know, I don't know if this is surprising or unsurprising, but these guys absolutely do have the skill. It's okay. Let's just put it this way: it is not night and day between the Pro League players, Challenger League players, and regular players. That's kind of what I first believed, or you know, I would say a year ago at this point. I thought, oh, in Pro League there's like a huge difference between how they play and between how we play. But when you look at it, they're doing the same. They're playing the same game, right? They're doing the same thing as we are, but they're just more in tune with the meta. They're more in tune with how to do, or they, you know, hours and hours of practice, but also scrimming and you know, VAR reviews, that kind of stuff. They realize when they made a mistake and what to not do again when you find yourself in the same situation in the future. You know, the kind of stuff I do, but when looking back at my previous casts, they do when they play. I mean, it sounds really fucking dumb when you say it like that, but for example, knowing when you should not push an angle, knowing it's being watched by a defender, and knowing when you're never going to get a better shot, or you're not going to be able to get a better tactical situation, so might as well try and go for it right now. The droning, for example, is perfect. I mean, their drones are never going to be missing out on a single. They're defending right now, so I was just saying droning when looking a bit, but still, their drones are never going to just not spot a hidden roamer. Their team play is really good. But it's the same thing as we're doing. For example, right here, I mean, Veros, ACL player, just took a bullet from Madro. Simply because Madro peeked, you know? So, it is what it is, right? What we do, or what they do, is like marginally better. But as a team, they work really well. If I was, and I know I'm not casting the game right here, if I was to just go on with one other anecdote, I don't remember which season it was. I myself, I'm no diamond player, okay? So just take that as the prelude to the anecdote. I myself am no CL, I'm no diamond player, but when I was doing my placement matches, I was playing alongside a player that was diamond consistently in the previous seasons, and I was looking at his playstyle. What's the difference between him and I? You know, what should I change in my playstyle to myself become a diamond player? And he was being pretty aggressive on the pre-fires, but other than that, his aim was just better than mine, you know? Being solo queue, I couldn't judge his teammates, his teamwork performances and all that good stuff. His aim was better, he was pre-firing often, so you know, if you peek stupidly, then you're just gonna walk into his line of bullets. So then it's up to you to just have better game sense. And Crevet right here is quite interesting. If he goes back and forth, he can keep the Ancient One basically held up in the bunk area. Oh, the wallbang here could almost happen, but I would be quite surprised if it was to actually go down. He knows there's a bulletproof camera there, and I don't know if the bulletproof camera fed the information, because you can turn those around, of course, right? But there you have it. Hiding the final kill cam again, but Axios winning the game. 7-4. It was unsurprising that Axios would win it at the end of the day, right? So all in all, as Zog saying, 3.5 points for Axios. Veros taking 13 kills, Axios 12. Krevet with a whopping 16 kills is actually going to be the single top fragger of the entire game, considering his team won a lower amount of rounds. That is no small feat. So all in all, I do believe that Freezing Frogs played pretty well for their personal performances. But ultimately, it was just not enough. So there we have it. The last thing I think we would be interested in doing would be an interview. And I have received a notification earlier on. But it was not that. Okay, so let's try to get an interview with those guys going on. So, let's just jump right into here. Are they still here? They are still here.
Can I go? Oh yeah, no.
Hey Axios.
No.
If you don't mind me, I'm just gonna waltz right in, and I would initiate an interview with you guys, if you don't mind.
Okay.
So, I mean, I know I'm just dropping in unannounced, but yeah, you won. So that's kind of one of your perks as the winners of getting an interview. So, and I don't know why I can't say my hair. What the fuck? It doesn't matter. You won this game. 7-4. It is, you know, some lead. It's not the 7-1 or 7-0, which some people might have been expecting, but ultimately you were able to take the cake. Oregon as a map, though, is still fairly new, right? And therefore, as a community, or as, you know, the community at large doesn't exactly know what the best ways of attacking any bomb sites are, which might have had an impact in putting you on the back foot for the first half of the game. But yet, you were able to keep the scores pretty tight. You want to talk about that a little bit? Like, how your attacks are shaping up, or what you're figuring out on this map?
Well, I think what you're getting at is our strats and our game style revolves around people that know how to play the game. So when you come around, when you play this style of game, sometimes they can throw you off. Think about it this way. Think about like a university basketball team, and then they play a street ball team. You know, like they're gonna get demolished. You know, and it's just or not necessarily, but it'll be tougher, right, than if they were on the court. So when you play with a mindset of like-minded players, so players that play competitively and know, you know, just the
Yeah,
proper
yeah.
way to play the game.
I mean,
It's
they're not.
different that it's different to play against people who just peek everything, shift W, kind of like ranked, just the
Yeah,
brainless style.
they're not playing the way you expect them to, so
Yeah.
this is throwing you off guard. But I mean, and just to keep the ball rolling, I'm not trying to disprove what you're saying, but I just want to.
Don't listen to Tom. He's kind of retarded.
No, the thing is, I'm not trying to, challenge you, but I just want to keep the conversation going. Couldn't we kind of counteract that, or say that the unexpected thing they're doing is arguably the weaker play style? Because if not, everybody would be doing that. So, other than the advantage of surprise that they get by doing the unexpected thing, it shouldn't be, a viable strategy, or it shouldn't be winning
Yeah,
too many
well,
rounds.
I think it's a strategy, but it's not consistent enough to make you able to win games. Like it's just shown, like yeah, sure they won 4 rounds out of us, but it's not consistent enough to get them to win on the
Yeah,
game.
I mean,
Also, another thing, like we didn't have challenger tonight, and like no matter how good the sub would have been, like we literally had 3 hours to prep for this game. So I think we did like a pretty good job with somebody
yeah,
like, that just got on the
Also,
fly.
just to put my grain of salt on it, like you saw in the first rounds, they played like insanely aggressive. It was pretty fucking nuts. Like
yeah,
they
yeah,
would like play really aggressive. But then like mid game, they kind of switched play style, and then they would go with the Monty slow pushes, a bit more methodical, but they would still have like one or two player that would go for like stupid pushes from like dead angles and try to get a flank or something like that.
yeah.
So it kind of threw us off. Like they played super aggressive, and then they went into a more mild play style, and then they went back super aggro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I see what you mean.
It was like it's good on them, but it just doesn't work.
Also, another thing is like we spend hours and hours and hours to like prepare against other teams that are like at sea level or higher, and it makes it so we're getting used to a certain way to play the game, like Tom said. And when like
Yeah,
we encounter those kind of teams, we need some like it obviously get off guard, but we need some rounds to just set our minds
Adapt,
back and
adjust.
adapt. Usually, it doesn't take us 4 rounds, but
but I mean, in your defense, two of the rounds they won were basically clutches. I mean, the first one with smoke, very first round.
Yeah.
Then round number 4 on laundry, it was like the year getting the 4K. Like he
Yeah.
shot two of you, and then he just ran upstairs, so you had to run after him, and that puts the push on hold. And then they won a flawless round on laundry the first time you defended there. I mean, I didn't see that coming. But I mean, all around, those strategies are pretty inconsistent. I mean, basically hoping the one guy gets the clutch is not a consistent way of winning your rounds. So I get what you mean. I mean, they caught you off guards. They got a few kills off of you, but it wasn't the end of the world. So,
Yeah.
and plus, don't confirm nor deny it if you don't want to. But I would assume you're kind of saving strats for CL. I wouldn't expect you to pull out your best strats ever out here, and and run the risk of being scouted out on those VODs. So that also probably is a factor. But at the end of the day, you are still able to win it out.
and yeah, kind of. But we also we see those kind of games as like scrim opportunities, if you want. But
Yeah,
with like more, like you have more the game set mindset for games day. Like it's not like a scrim where like you have literally nothing to lose and you don't try to win. Like there you kind of try to win, so you try to
And they're
make
trying to win as well.
adjustments and make things works. But yeah, it's not like I wouldn't like it's not the same energy as when we have like still games day or anything like that.
yeah, I can imagine too. But I think this is basically what I had to say. I mean, it was a nice conversation, and I don't have too many more questions that come to my mind. So, congratulations for your victory. I believe that puts you back into first place because you were second, only down half a point.
We were already first place because we won the game.
Oh yeah, because they
already
hadn't
this week.
yeah, they hadn't updated the scoreboard. My bad. So there you are. You're in first place. So you're basically guaranteed to go into the playoffs because the regular season is coming to an end here. So I would ask you if there's any team that you think might be a legitimate threat to your first place once you make it to the playoffs.
I'm not sure, but I'm kind of excited to play against also Action. Sorry, they only lost one game so far, so we'll see how it goes against them. I think
And-
it's the team that I'm the most excited to play against.
But you still think you can easily beat them?
I think we could come on top. Yeah.
Because then the question would be, if you don't think you can beat them, why are they not in CL? But then again, I'm just rambling here. So congratulations for your victory once again. And yeah, I'm not casting here for the Summer Cup too often, but whenever I'm available, I'm happy to oblige. So hopefully I get to see you guys and to cast you guys in the playoffs. But until then, well, congratulations on victory and have an amazing rest of the night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye, guys. See ya.
Sure.
See you.
So, yeah, this is going to be it for us tonight. I believe there's a third game that is going to happen, but I will not be casting it, the guy also. Okay, I'm just going to respond to them later on. So, yeah, there's that. And there's another game that's going to be happening. I'm not going to be casting it. I'm not exactly sure which one it is going to be, but there might be a VOD of it later on. Until then, one thing is for sure, thank you all for being here. This is a new channel, so we grew it 16 followers. I mean, feel free to follow this channel, because we will try to center everything, or to get the content more centralized. When we're jumping from one spectator to another, from one streamer to another, it confuses the viewers, right? You never know where to expect the games, so this should help a little in that regards. So there you go. But until then, thank you all for being here, and have an amazing rest of the night. I don't know when I'll be streaming here next, but we will make sure to let you guys know when this happens. All right, see you guys later.
Attackers dropping. 15 seconds left. Swapping back. activating the diffuser. Defenders have disabled the bomb diffuser. Defenders win.